you to doubt El Dandy?
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5-time the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pierce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pierce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, tell like I'm to muscle. If you sour like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the band, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you wait down with that, then I got two as well, you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, hold another cup. Let's be busy 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit.
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Oh, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Who's hosting, Lachlan? You or me?
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show, where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. You know what it turns out is it's when we play the opening video, that's what kills my internet. Because as soon as it hits, I'm out of here. Can we hear? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. You're good.
We can. You were just raving on about your interview.
We're alive. Yes. My name is Lachlan Albert, and I am joined by a man who I want on my side the next time I'm surprised by global wars. It's Jamie Apps. Jamie, how you doing, brother?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Oh my God.
He's gone.
He's gone again. So, sorry, Jamie, I'm really glad you're well. Let's see if I can forget the name of the show this week. And with me, as always, is the man who left his mark on Friday night. I've seen the video. The one and only, the best manager ever, Beastie Todd Eastman. How you going, Beastie?
Mate, like, that was an okay intro, but I have a better one, so hang on a sec. Hang on. Here we go.
And you've got all the street cred and legit credentials. So it's really nice to do an interview with someone like you that is so well-versed in the pro wrestling scene, particularly here in Australia. And I'm excited to be here for the first time ever.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, but he called you Paul through the interview. I saw it this week, mate. He called you Paul.
No, he didn't. Oh, no. Someone was heavy on the THC again. Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Tut.
Lachlan, can we try this again? Do you want to host, or do you want me to?
Let's try it again. Welcome to Making Chicken Salad, where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. My name is Lachlan Albert. I am joined. I think I'm on a massive delay here, so I'm just going with it. I'm joined by a man who I want on my side the next time I'm surprised by global wars. It's Jamie Apps. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm great. For the second time there, Lachlan.
Are you still there, Lachlan? Oh, my Lord.
I'm also joined...
Delays.
It's not a bit, I swear. I'm also joined by a man who calls it a grand slam every time he shuts the door. It's Todd Eastman. Todd, good to see you, mate.
Mate, that was a good intro. I have a better intro, but no, I'm not gonna play it again.
Yeah, I'm
I won't do that to you.
potentially talking over you now. I'm also joined by a man who.
Oh dear, where are you broadcasting from, brother? Are you like over in Mongolia or something? Oh dear, he's gone.
He's broadcasting from the moon.
So now that we've been introduced to Paul 4 times, and let's go ahead.
Hey Jeff, how are you, my friend? No one's introduced you. We've been introduced twice. How are you, mate?
I'm pretty good, thanks, fellas. It's always good. It's always fun on a Thursday night. Lachlan may be back. Lachlan may be gone. We don't know. Let's just await a message in our group chat.
I'm so glad it's not me this time. Not only this is me.
And my camera's working because I'm using a second computer. It's always good to have Jamie pop in. He is our fourth wheel of the vehicle, as it were. It's great to have you on board, Jamie. Obviously, you boys were at the weekend last weekend. I've got my own take on a few things, to be honest. But I want to know what you guys thought of the weekend overall.
Jamie, you first, mate.
I thought it was a great success. Up and down from Friday through to... I left Sunday morning, but I heard the Sunday Arvo shows were pretty decent as well. So, but yeah, the AEW/ROH event. Apart from a few hiccups before we got into the venue, once we were in there, that show was fantastic, which is classic AEW. In-ring product, amazing,
we always knew that was going to happen, didn't we?
Yeah. Todd, your thoughts aside from venue issues?
Mate, I was absolutely shagged by Sunday, so I didn't do anything on Sunday. It was a very busy weekend for me, starting from like Thursday all the way through to like the end of Saturday night. So by the time I got home on Sunday, I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing anything on Sunday.
I completely understand that. That way, it was I so far, complete disclosure, I've only seen the Collision episode. I am planning on obviously catching Global Wars because it looks like a great card. Speaking of which, let's go through it. I'll ask you guys your opinions on the match. And Alex Firehart they've just said, I will say personally, this is the most I've cared about mainstream wrestling in a good long while. Obviously, we're a big part of that, so thank you very much, Alex. No one say anything. Okay, so Global Wars opened with Bandito and the Outrunners of Truth.
With Lachlan returning! Yeah!
Shut up, Lachlan. Defeating the Landing Tree of Big Bill, Brian Keith, and Chris Jericho. Lachlan has joined us, but we don't know how long he's going to be here, so I'll keep posting. Todd, what did you think of this match?
Well, let Lachlan answer first, because we're not long how long he's going to be around for.
Yeah, Lachlan,
before I disappear, right? I actually got a message from a friend of the show, Bobby Bishop, the next day, saying that this was his favorite match of the night, which is definitely a choice, but I can totally understand where it's coming from. If you want to talk about getting the most out of the least, these guys nailed it, right? They did basically nothing. Bandito did a couple of flips early on, and then after that it was wrist locks and punches, baby. And I think that, you know, the Outrunners, I really like the Outrunners doing a lucha gimmick. I think that's really funny. I'm going with it, okay?
Just go.
And look, Bobby Bishop in the chat saying it's logic, Lachlan. I'm not disagreeing with you, Bobby. I think that the gimmick for the Outrunners doing the lucha thing was hilarious. The fact that one of the Outrunners walked all of the ropes and then walked the ropes some more really got the crowd in and got them invested while doing not much. The crowd hopping out of their chairs for Big Bill reminded me of Elimination Chamber and the way the crowd reacted to Tiffany Stratton, which, you know, it's the same thing where I think when these shows come to Australia, Australian crowds react in a certain way, and we get things like, as we'll talk about later, the response to Cope, which then other people want to jump off of. I think it'll be interesting to see if that happens with Big Bill, but I don't know if it has translated to the recorded version of the show. But I thought it was a fun match for what it was, even though I really want Jericho to retire.
Yeah, you mentioned Big Bill is part of his popularity, and it's not just here. He is an incredibly popular figure week to week on AEW, but is part of his popularity because of the journey he's had with seizures and alcoholism and unfortunate things related to alcoholism, and the fact that he's managed to turn his life around and is quite an admirable character if you scratch a little bit beneath the surface. Do you think that is part of his popularity lot? Do you think that contributes?
I definitely don't think it hurts, but I also think sometimes the Aussie crowd just like picks someone they like and go with it.
Yeah,
like I remember
he wasn't Jericho. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He wasn't Jericho, but he was someone that we knew. And I remember, it wasn't all that many years ago where someone could say, I reckon Big Cass is getting a title run in the next 12 months, a world title run. You could go, I can see it, right? And he's still the same guy. He's still got all of the same aspects to him, but now we're more aware of just how much of that backstory there is in his personal life. And I think that if that momentum carries forward, he's someone who they could put a world title on with a personal story behind it and have a crowd respond to it, where even if his ring work isn't stellar, he's bloody huge, and sometimes that's enough.
I think that's what... I think that there's a lot to be said for the fact that he is just a fucking monster. Like he walked into that ring and I was even like, holy shit. And when you've got someone that size compared to everyone else in that ring, of course you're going to stand out. And because everyone knew him from WWE, you've probably got a primarily WWE crowd there. I know they're all there for AEW, but the mainstreamers that would have come to that show would have only known him from WWE. So I think it's a mix of that. I don't know exactly how many people in the crowd would know his backstory, would know any of that stuff. They would have just known that, he went away for a while and now he's back.
That's possible.
Jamie, what was your
he's
take
looking
on
great. He's looking great. Jamie, what did you think of this one?
I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed the Outrunners coming out in the masks and leaning into the lucha side. I don't think it needed to be 14 minutes long, though. It was probably 5 minutes too long for what it was.
Yeah, they did really milk that. Especially that run around the ropes. They really did milk that spot.
That was like a 4-minute spot.
Yeah.
Anything to add, Lee?
No, it was a good show. Although the only thing that they sort of half botched was Bandito's finish. He sort of went off to the side on Jericho, and Jericho didn't really jump for him either. So that didn't really help.
Big surprise. Jericho doesn't jump for anything.
The one thing I'll add in that Todd and I agreed on while watching this in person was they should have kept Big Bill on the apron longer, because that was what the crowd wanted, and there should have been more, we're teasing tagging him in, no, we're not going to tag him in, we're just going to keep it, him on the outside. That would have gotten the heat that they were looking for. And those, like Alex Fireheart mentions, the "you're not Bill" and the "still not Bill" chants were funny moments. And you could have gotten so much out of that and kept them as heels by continually not tagging Bill in. Whereas they did give him that moment to shine, and I think it really put a positive spin on the baby faces, right?
Yeah.
Like they had a plan and they just stuck to it. They didn't deviate at all when they heard the plan.
I just, as I said, I'm going to check this one out soon. From there, we had, and I mean, there's no way this is bad. Lee Moriarty sadly defeating our own Robbie Eagles in 10 minutes and 27 seconds. The Ring of Honor Pure title. Todd, How was young Mr. Eagles in person and going on the world stage?
Mate, well, we did Moriarty a favour the night before, so he went in there a bit banged up because of us, to be perfectly honest with you. So, I mean, I'll take the credit for that.
Yeah.
How dare you, sir? But yeah, I didn't actually get it. It was good. It was good, like pure title match really lends itself to, like, I don't know how well the crowd took it, because like that pure title with the pure title rules, it can be a bit, I'll say, moreish for people that aren't like Ring of Honor fans, that don't know what the Ring of Honor pure title thing is. But as a just a pure wrestling match, I really enjoyed it, because like I love Robbie's work. Moriarty's a great technician and all that. The one thing that did stand out to me was, like, at the end of it, one of Moriarty's crew ran down to the ring as well. I don't know if you remember, Jamie and Lachlan. He sort of ran down to the ring as well and sort of like celebrated with Moriarty. And the only thing that hit my head was like, wow, that's a long way to fly down just to go, hey, that's awesome, and then just walk back. I was like, that is stealing money right there, brother.
I do like that he teased a beatdown of Robbie just for a second when Robbie had his back turned to give him a and I think that was a really nice touch. Jamie?
I love Robbie's matches, and this was no different. I think the biggest problems I had with this were Arkady spoke all over the top of Afterglow for the entrance. I was like, we could have clued her in to just lay out for 30 seconds on that bit. And like you said, I don't know if the crowd understood the pure rules properly. Because I don't think
the announcer understood the rules properly.
She was trying to read them off the screen and had to like bend around.
Look over fans to see what they were on.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff, because you weren't there. She was actually looking at the big screen while they were printing up the rules for the match, and she was just reading it off the screen. So she didn't know what the rules were.
You could see the ones near the bottom where the crowd were in front of it, and she's kind of trying to move around to see what it says.
Yeah, she was like struggling.
Out of interest,
like it made the finish a bit weird too, because they've exhausted their rope breaks, and the finish came with a pin in the ropes, and the crowd kind of just went, what? And booed like really badly. No, because that's the rules.
It kind of worked though, because he was a heel. Like Moriarty was playing the heel in that, so
yeah,
that was good. Like Robbie had a massive support behind him. Robbie was like, that was awesome to see. That was awesome to see. Like, was it 13,000 people or something like that? All of them were like in lockstep behind Robbie, which was great.
Of course they were. Of course they were. I'm assuming the TV. Oh, sorry, Jamie?
That was like the theme of the night. Every Aussie's back.
Well, except for Kyle, which is really good for Kyle.
Which was good.
Yeah.
I think we all knew how
much Moriarty played the heel, though, right? Like, very clearly, Moriarty was the heel in this match. They didn't try to do anything silly with it. He was the bad guy.
I'm assuming that this taping was before Grand Slam.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you want to send the crowd home with that finish. Anything to add about Robbie and Lee, Jamie? Anything to say, mate?
No, nothing extra.
Okay. I did, as Alex Fireheart in the chat mentions, the "Come on, Robbie, come on" chants were very interesting as a new one to add to the collection.
Yeah, because that's a crowd that don't watch Robbie on a regular basis, so they just go with the "Come on, Aussie, come on."
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
He did get
I mean, it kind of works because he does the Aussie.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Whether a face or a heel, he still gets that chant in Australia. It's quite funny. From there, we had big Mark Davis. Oh, Ree thinks it's a crowd that should be ashamed of themselves. Ree, let us know why.
How dare you, Ree? Very dare you.
I'm always ashamed of myself, Ree.
Mark Davis going up against Tommy Knight. How fantastic is it to have Tommy Knight on such a big stage? and such a great show. Unfortunately, it was a very, very, very short match.
You could really tell who were the Aussie wrestling fans in the crowd, though, because of the size of the pop for Tommy.
Yeah.
You're like, there's a pocket there.
Yeah, I don't think they announced where he was from. They just said like Tommy Knight.
Yeah.
And fucking yeah.
But how was it? I mean, this is two very, very big boys, both able to beat the crap out of each other and come back for more. Jamie, how was it?
That's exactly what they did. This was your classic
big meaty men
meat match.
Yeah.
They just wailed on each other. Tommy did awesome. Our little section popped big for Tommy, and cool to see Tommy in new gear too. Not just the plain black. He really had this the like pink lightning on the gear, and he really stood out.
It's fantastic. Lachlan, how was this one?
I was so thrilled to see Tommy versus Mark as a match that it was just like floating for a minute. It's like, oh goodness, we're going to get to actually see this, and that was really special. I think that if they had, I know that there's constraints and all, but the real jobber entrance they gave to Tommy, I don't think benefited him. Even giving him just a tiny bit of music would have done him a world of good here, because he looked like he was meant to be in that ring, right?
Well, that was the kind of thing for us, because we couldn't see the entrance where we were because there were so many people were in the way. So just all of a sudden, Tommy Knight just walked into the ring. We're like, whoa, fuck! What's Tommy doing there? Oh shit!
I will say, let's discuss where we were sitting just quickly, because it was pretty unreal. So we were not on the floor, but we were as close to. Just go with it, guys. We were as close to the floor as you could be while in the grandstands. We were in the first row of the grandstands, directly in front of the hard cam. So really, really excellent media seats. Really, really cool little media section.
In front of us, and that was it.
Yeah.
That sounds phenomenal. Really, that sounds terrific. So obviously we all would have loved to have seen a 20-minute match of Mark Davis against Tommy Knight. There's no denying that has 20-25 minutes in it with two blokes who are absolutely great at doing this.
Quick shout out to Matt in chat, who says, I wonder if one Shelton Benjamin had a hand in Tommy getting a Guernsey on the card. He was really won over by Tommy at StarCast. That's a really good shout, Matt.
That is a really good point, Matt, and quite possibly. But either way, we could have seen more of that. Todd, anything to add on Tommy versus Mark?
Look, I think it was like the boys have said, it was a short match, but that is probably the perfect amount of tryout match time.
Yeah.
For them. So they got to see what he could do. They got to see that he was a big meaty man who likes bumping meat, and it was a nice little showcase for what he could do, but then also that he is good at selling for Mark. So yeah, I thought it was good, really good.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing that. After that, we had the Ring of Honor Tag Team title match. The Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, defeated MXM Collection Connection, Mansoor and Mason Madden in 12 minutes 53. Guys, before we delve into how the match was, can I ask one question? Did anyone give a fuck?
Well, it's Dustin. Dustin's cool.
Dustin's
I
cool.
love Dustin. But
the match itself, not really.
This was very close to the worst match on the card, and not because of Dustin and Sammy.
So this match ran for just under 13 minutes, and that 13 minutes for me was really disappointing because there weren't many food options. I did manage to get a couple of drinks. The toilets were reasonably clean. That's about all that I can say from during that time.
Was Ronnie on the door, or was it Pete?
There were a few doors. So
there were a lot of doors.
Right?
I'm talking door 4, I think it is. Anyway.
How did
That's
you
actually
do that?
right. That's actually right. We were door 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like Mason Madden was fucking horrible in this match. He was so bad. Like, he missed a big boot on Sammy by about a good foot from our vantage point. And then there was a point... Oh, did he? Did he make Botchamania for it? He should do. Did the other part make it where, like, he ran in, then realised that he'd come in way too early and just stood there in the middle of the ring holding, like, going... Then I think Dustin turned around and saw him and went, "Oh, shit, what are you doing here? Come here. Fucking hell." I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, take a couple of minutes off these guys. Give it back to Mark and Tommy, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
They've got a good pose. Their pose spot is about all that they had. Like, Mansoor's good enough, but Mason is the shit.
Or let an Aussie team go up against them. Like, put an Aussie team in there. Yeah, the Velocities, the Parade.
One of the Velocities was in the building and the other one was in Fortitude Valley. Come on.
Well, they already booked Terry.
Villarreal. And then we closed the Ring of Honor taping with Athena doing the work of her life, going up against English wrestler, UK wrestler Alex Windsor. I can't see this being bad. Jamie, how was it?
This was where I had to run into the bathroom and get some food as well, so I missed much of this one.
And say hi to Ronnie. Lachlan, how was it?
Yeah, I'll cover both Todd and Jamie for this one. This was pretty solid, right? I think that Athena in person has a moment where you kind of have to process how small she is in person, because she's got such a severe energy to her coming through a screen where she comes across as this big, powerful woman, and then you see her in person and she is tiny. And when you've got someone like Alex Windsor who's got that really good look, and she delivered in this match, in my personal opinion, I think she did really well. This was the one where in the back of my head the whole time I'm thinking, man, Athena versus Lena Cross in this spot would have been unreal. But
I was about to say, look, no offense to her, like Ree says that she's amazing, and I'm sure that she is, but instead of flying her out, you've got Charlie Evans, you've got like Lena Cross sitting backstage, the two women that are really world class standard. Easily could have put those two in that match. One of those two in the match, easily.
Yep.
Like, Charlie would have got a massive pop in that match.
I'll also say that Tim Wilkes mentioning the custom title she had with the new spinner on it, and in person, you could not see it at all. It looked like garbage. I could see she was spinning something, but that O-face finisher in person is a thing of beauty. Just seeing how much height she gets on it is incredible. So I'm always going to pop for that finish. I really like Athena, but I think the conversation Jamie and I were having when he got back to this match was, now that they have repeatedly not had Athena lose to the title to Billy Starks when it feels like she should have, is it ever going to be believable when she goes up against someone that she could lose it? Because obviously there was no chance in hell here. As good as Alex Windsor is, if they didn't give it to anyone else up to this point, why was it going to be Alex now, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's worth catching this mainly for the Australians, mainly for Robbie's match and Tommy's match, but beyond that, it sounds like it's a bit pedestrian. Matt's asking if the Alex Windsor spot would have been Jess's spot if she'd have been 100%. I mean, who knows?
And Nicolia, yes, but
Windsor's not signed. I mean, she's married to someone that's signed, but she's not signed by AEW.
Yeah, and
anyway,
she's part of the combined AEW roster, like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Speaking of AEW, here you go, Lachlan. The next show was AEW Grand Slam, or collision. But it was one hell of a collision. The show opened with Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay defeating the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher.
Let's pause here, and I'm going to say there's a conversation that obviously we need to have. I don't necessarily want to have it, but I think we need to have it. Do we do it now? Do we do it at the end of Grand Slam? We've got to talk about two inches.
We might as well do it. Might as well just do it.
All right, here's my take on it. I'll try to give the simple version of it, right? AEW in the US use a 20-foot by 20-foot ring. Shipping a wrestling ring halfway across the world is kind of ridiculous. If you're not planning to put an elimination chamber around the ring, then I see no reason to get your own ring when there's plenty of rings already in the country. Basically, every promotion uses an 18-foot by 18-foot ring. AEW borrowed PWA's ring for the night, an 18-foot by 18.
They rented it. They didn't borrow it. This is the thing. They rented the ring.
They rented it, as had been planned long in advance, because they're a company who needed a ring, right? In fact, the ring needed to be there, ready to go the day before, if I'm not mistaken. And it was, because the PWA guys drove the ring up to get it in the night before. And so the ring was slightly smaller than the ring that AEW typically uses. And this has been the big talking point from the show.
Well, it's like my ex-girlfriend used to say, it's not how big her ring is, it's what I put inside of it. That's what counts. So, you know.
Wow.
I did not expect that from you. Yeah.
I expected it from you, actually, Todd.
No, because I'm being serious about this point, my friend.
I actually think, but my point is, as Reese said, before she said, "Oh, Jeff," my point is, it is a storm in a teacup. I agree with you, Reese. It's absolutely so silly. It is such a silly thing to be arguing about. Who cares? Were the matches good? Was the show good? That's all that matters. Were you entertained? You guys were there live. Were you entertained? Jamie, it looks like you're still jumping out of your skin a bit.
I didn't even notice that it was a small ring. I figured it was a PWA ring or a PWL ring.
Yeah.
But
I knew what it was. I knew what it was going in, so I didn't really.
And I was just
but it didn't.
Whatever, who cares? And like you said, why would they ship a 20 by 20 out here for a potentially?
Well, look.
I didn't know how well it was going to go.
The original plan and the plan that I heard was that they were going to get a ring built down here. And it just, for one reason or another, it didn't happen. So then they sort of scrambled to find like a ring. So it was like, it's also not the first time AEW have used an 18 by 18 ring. They've used it plenty of times before on TV, on big matches have had, like I think it was like Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker's ring. That match that they had, that was in an 18 by 18 ring. I think Omega and Danielson tag teamed in an 18 by 18 ring. Nobody said anything about it then. This is just people like JD from New York who wants to who has nothing else to do but to scream for 25 minutes about something that apparently Tony Khan has done and pulled the wool over people's eyes. Like, it's always fucking known that everyone has, like, on tickets, you're going to be seeing somebody in a 20 by 20 ring. No, you fucking idiot, it's not. Plenty of wrestling goes on. And not only that, the PWA's ring is probably the best ring in the country. Or one of. Orange Cassidy's worked that ring before. Zack Sabre Jr.'s worked in that ring before. Will Ospreay's worked in that ring plenty of times before. When New Japan Pro Wrestling came to Australia, guess what ring they used when they were in Sydney? That fucking ring.
And, let's be really clear here as well. Sorry to cut you off there, Jeff. You are looking right here at four guys who will give AEW shit when warranted, right? If AEW's putting on stuff that is not good, we have no problem talking about it. We've done it plenty of times in the past. I expect that we'll do it in the future when they put on something that's not good.
I already have one for chicken shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking about 5 minutes. Let's be honest.
2 inches either side on a ring, no one gives a fuck. Honestly.
Yeah, it was.
Especially these matches, they were all phenomenal.
Yeah, Yeah, there are more important things to do, like reviewing this match. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay defending Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. Oh, I've made you so proud, haven't I, Lachlan?
You've done that, boy.
Let's start with you, Todd. What did you think of this one?
Honestly, this is possibly one of the probably best matches I've seen live, or at least tag team matches I've seen live. I thought this was so good. And, like, for Kyle Fletcher in Australia to be able to elicit boos and to elicit fucking, like, the jeers that he was eliciting, well done to him. Because they could have easily just went with, I'm in my hometown, I don't care, I'm just going to be a babyface for one night. Because oftentimes that happens with AEW. They, like Britt Baker, every time she was in Pittsburgh, all of a sudden she was a bloody fan favourite. The spot that they did when they were going to do that whole chop-off thing, and Kyle just decided, no, I'm not doing that. The crowd wants me to hear that. I'm just going to get out of the ring and walk around and tell them to shut up for a while. That, like, so good. Like, it was a really, really good match. Like I said, possibly one of, and speaking from a TV point of view, they were getting led in by, it was the All-Star Slam Dunk Contest, I think. And from them to go from that into like 20 minutes of these guys was the perfect choice. Not like the last time when they had the whole, like, heading into it and then they saw Jericho, so people just roasted Jericho for the solid 20 minutes on like X. They couldn't roast anything about this match because it was fucking good.
Very good. Lachlan, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, this was a belter. You look at the 4 guys in it, you knew it'd be a belter. I think that they're telling a really interesting story with Omega and Ospreay, where Omega's trying to, like, lay these little notes that maybe I can't do it anymore. Maybe I'm not the man I once was. And the fact that he can do that without slowing down a match of this pace and continue to do awesome stuff like the stereo Terminator dives and all of that nonsense. I thought that this was something special here. The criticism that I have is having Mark Davis on the outside and doing literally nothing with him.
Yeah.
Like, not even standing in the way of someone in the family while people were on the outside. Nothing. Just stood there. And I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. And because he was already out. He had a match. He got his hometown pop. If you have him in the country already for a match, you don't need him to be there as part of this. Or you can use him and do something. But to do neither really confused me. But other than that, this match slapped. Obviously I'm a massive Takeshita fan. Love Kyle Fletcher. Love the work that Omega and Ospreay do. This was always going to hit for me.
Jamie?
I imagine the Mark Davis part would have been some sort of storyline thing if he didn't really help the Callis family. But he was
standing up there as a bodyguard for Don.
Yeah, but he didn't really do anything to protect Don either. When Don got involved, he was just like, and he was shrugging as if to say, "Oh God, here they go again." So maybe that's something. I loved the finish. Like, it showed how much this match meant to Kenny and Will to come up with like a innovative new tag team finisher with the hidden blade into the one-winged angel. That was great. Yeah, it's just a phenomenal match. Absolutely have to rewatch this again and again.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish up by giving it my druthers as well. I thought this was a fantastic match. I think that the 4 of them had such chemistry. Kyle Fletcher worked his ass off to be a heel. He worked a heel style. He knew he was going to get a smattering of cheers. I mean, people are going, "Oh yeah, but New South Wales against Queensland." No, people don't care. They're wrestlers. They're Australian wrestlers.
I really don't know. Yeah, I really don't. I would have liked to have known the percentage of Queenslanders actually there, as opposed to the percentage of people from all around the country.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting.
That is a very, very, very good point. But I thought this was 21 minutes, 20 seconds. Absolute brilliance. I certainly will watch this again. It is great to see. You're quite right that the sewing of that storyline of, Omega slowly turning into Terry Funk, I don't have it anymore. It's brilliant to watch, and I just cannot wait to see this match again. It's so entertaining. From there, we had Mercedes.
Quickly, did they name the finisher on the broadcast? I haven't watched it yet.
No, they just said it is the hidden blade into a one-wing angel. They haven't given it a name as yet. From there, we had
just quickly suggest Heavenly Strike, as the fact that both of those are named after video game moves. Fantasy. So you take the Final Fantasy name that is the most powerful from Final Fantasy X or something, you know? Give us something along those lines. Anyway.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Something that was
certainly...
In my head, I'm just saying, nerd!
Something that certainly was there was Mercedes Moné against Harley Cameron. I'm absolutely going to talk about this last. Jamie, what were your thoughts on this?
Solid, yeah, like you said, it was there. Harley Cameron has improved lights and bounds. She's great now. She's actually really good. Like, when we looked at some of Mercedes' previous matches, Harley was awesome. I hate Mercedes' finisher. Look,
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, that's one thing that was the worst part of the match. She should just give that up. That is not a good finishing move. Just go back to the bank statement. Because it was that got over and it worked and it was good. I think it's very rare anyone can actually take that and make it look good for her. So it's just, but like you're 100% correct too, Jamie. Like Harley has come along so much in ring, and like I can't wait for maybe a year's time, if they give her regular reps, that is, how much better she could get, because like her promos, her ideas behind sort of that stuff is there and is really good. Like that's like there are a lot of stuff, and she can change gear from being like crazy funny person to like heartfelt promo. Like that promo she cut afterwards in the locker room, that was really good. So like yeah, that was really, I thought it was really good. And like I'm not a big Mercedes Moné fan. I could like leave or take it. You know what I mean? She doesn't really do anything for me. But again, that finish needs to change because it's terrible. She can't hit it properly on people.
I think I've seen it hit well twice.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we always coming up when people are coming up with finishes. You're like, try and do a finisher that everyone can take, and then maybe look good with doing it. With that, I don't see how people can actually take that well on a regular basis anyway, and multiple people.
Lachlan, anything else to add before I talk about what I need to talk about with this match?
There were a couple of really, really excellent moments in this match that I think show how far Harley Cameron has come. The puppet peeking over the ring apron, I think, was superb. The camera shot of it looked great, but even just seeing it in person, and we could see her scurrying around, so we knew what was happening. But just those little moments are what make wrestling fun. And I'm glad that there were those moments in this match, because otherwise it was kind of fine. And once again, if they'd shaved 3 minutes off it, it would have been a better match.
Okay. I'm going to talk about this a little bit. Now, I don't know whether it was the TV edit, because it wasn't particularly inspiring on TV. But Harley Cameron at the moment is largely a comedy act. Mercedes Moné needs a specific kind of opponent with her, and they did not appear to mesh as well as they could have. They both worked as hard as they could have, but they did not mesh well on TV. It was probably better in the auditorium, but on TV this was rather humdrum. And the fact that Mercedes won seemed to almost deflate the audience a little bit, because Harley was so popular. Again, this could be the cut, but Moné is still not looking great out there and needs a specific opponent to go up against. And it's a shame. I don't think she dives into comedy reactions really well. And if she was to, I think the match would have flowed a lot better, because there were several comedy spots, including the puppet peeking over the ring, that fell flat because Monet didn't sell it well enough. She's got to sell it more. Otherwise, we're just watching two people bounce off each other that don't have that compatibility. And I felt that was a real shame, because they did have moments that were good, but they were few and far between. At least that was what I thought. I think they could have really tightened that up a little bit. After
Revolution match will probably be much better with Momo.
Oh, yeah, not to mention she's another one who got a free ride out to Australia for nothing.
Yep.
Oh my God! Imagine being
nothing.
We need you to come out. We need you to come out just to walk down and sit down ringside. Not in the ring. Just sit out in the crowd, and that's it. That's all we need you for. Then you can go out, just enjoy. Go and pat some koalas. Feed a couple of kangaroos. Have fun.
Yeah, do a PR tour, Momo. After that, we had the Brisbane Brawl match. Why is it a Brisbane Brawl? No one knows. It's set in Brisbane. That'll fucking do. The Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli and John Moxley, with Marina Shafir defeating Cope, who got one hell of a reaction, and Jay White, who also got a booming reaction, by referee's decision in about 14 minutes and 40 seconds. Lachlan, how was the Brisbane Brawl in Brisbane, baby?
The finish sucked.
Yeah.
It was absolutely dead and flat, right? A lot of the match was people walking around, which tend to be these Death Riders Brawl all over matches. There was a lot of just like walking around or getting a weapon ready. There were a few really stellar spots. I'll note, I think basically all of them involved Cope. Him diving off a balcony in the crowd at his age was pretty wild. Getting to see him, getting to see him spear someone through a table set up in the corner of the ring is just like a lovely little like, yes, I got to see that. That was amazing. I think Claudio showed how bloody good he is at maintaining the flow of a match, because every time he was involved in what was going on, it felt tight and quick. And that's not to say that Mox or Jay were particularly bad. I think Jay White had some really fun stuff too. But you noticed that Cope was the most exciting person to see, and Claudio was the most consistent worker by a margin. And I think this match is not going to be remembered for 1% as much as the entrance will be remembered.
I think you were half right there. This match won't be remembered. Todd, what were your thoughts on this?
I can't see why everybody hated the finish of this match. Like, it was the finish of this match is for Revolution. The finish of this match was to set that up. Like, Moxley choked him out and did it by cheating his ass off to get there. So, of course, now Copeland's got a reason to want to go. Like, this week on Dynamite, he said he's going to go through every member now to get to Moxley. Like, he has reason to want to get through every member to get to Moxley now. I don't understand what people are missing with that. Is there something that I'm missing where I don't understand why, and I should be pissed off about something? Because if there is, I can't work out what that is.
I agree with what you're saying, Todd, but was it not flat?
Well, it's supposed to be. He's a heel. He's supposed to be a big up finish for the heel going over. You're supposed to be deflated because the heel won.
I guess I'm agreeing with you that it did deflate the crowd, and you just think that's a good thing and I don't, and that's fine.
For the direction that they want to go, they have to. Like, you can't have a big, happy, open, like, up finish with the heel going over when you want this heel to be hated and you want Copeland to get his revenge. You just can't do it. You have to be disappointed.
Yeah. I was.
And it wasn't the main. It's like if it was the main, I could see what you're saying, but it wasn't the main event. Like everyone was always going to go home happy, so they could do this stuff during the show.
Yeah. I totally get what you're saying. It just being in the building, it was a flat finish, and that's disappointing when you've got 4 good workers in there. And I know that that's the story, and I know he's been doing these finishes for a long time for this exact reason. But it's leaving me disappointed. I'm getting worked. I know that I'm getting worked. I'm fine with getting worked. Right? It's working. Yeah. It was flat. That's what I think of it.
Jamie, what were your thoughts on this?
It had a lot of fun spots in it, like I mentioned, the balcony dive, the spear through the table. There was a good chant that I think Lachlan may have been the originator of the Bunnings chairs. And yeah, it was just a fun match, average finish, but it did the job of what that match wanted. I think it was very predictable.
Man, the spot where Wheeler just whipped the shit out of Jay. Holy hell. I was like, Jesus Christ. I'd be selling that for real. Like, oh, fuck, stop that.
Yeah, and just so that everyone knows the excitement that came out of Jamie and I directed at Todd when Yuta appeared.
Yuta came out.
Slapped him on the leg. It's your mate. It's your mate. Don't worry, we did it.
Tardy, I'm really glad you were happy to see Willie Yuta. You must be so excited that you saw him live. I wasn't going to go down this road, but obviously now, kind of have to. You finally.
We're just lucky that there was a barrier there. If I didn't have to excuse myself around people, might have been some trouble.
Well, you were just going to go and give him a big hug. I know, I got it. Look, on TV, this was good. It wasn't great. It was good. I think they wanted an epic and they didn't get to that spot, but it was entertaining. The ending did feel a little flat just because they built to it, avoided it, and then bang, it's on. Again, that is kind of leading into the next match because obviously Moxley's got the whole I can put that on from anywhere, remember that. And that was good. What happened next was a great match, but I've got my own take on it, as I always do. It's the AEW Continental title match. Kazuchika Okada defeated Buddy Matthews in a tad over 13 minutes. Let's go with you, Todd. What did you think of this?
Really good. This wasn't Okada coasting. This was Okada in like maybe second, third gear, maybe. He wasn't quite full throttle, but he picked it up a bit for the international thing, I reckon. I wonder how much better this would have been if Buddy hadn't rolled his ankle at the start of the match.
Yeah.
And I think that's my main takes out of this. I did pop for the Buddy using Rhea's sub. That was kind of cute. And apparently backstage she was she was blushing when he did it, so she didn't know it was coming.
And he wore the same kind of ring outfit that she wore in Perth. So the jacket really similar. Well, obviously with Murphy instead of Ripley. Murphy instead of Ripley.
Matthews
instead of Ripley.
Sorry, everyone. Lachlan, what did you think of this?
This was just fun. It's special to have seen a Rainmaker in person. Like, I can't deny that. There's something about that just makes me go, ooh. Obviously, the crowd was really behind Buddy here, and I think that the fact that he had just had a bit of a gimmick change, not a massive one, but just enough to throw off the who knew what chants were what, kind of hurt the crowd response a little bit. Because, people were going for the woofs, but also there weren't people who knew that we're war dogs now, and it's or Hounds of Hell or whatever it is, I think that timing was just a little rough on him. And again, third gear for Okada's a good place to be. He's if he's not making the rain, he's getting it ordered in. That's fine by me as long as there's rain.
So it wasn't a drizzle. It wasn't a drizzle.
Yeah,
it was a light shower. Light to medium shower.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just spits, you get the droplets. It wasn't that. It was definitely raining, but it wasn't a storm, let's put it that way.
It was enough.
Yeah.
It was enough to make you want to go inside. Let's
and
say
it was enough to make you want to see a rematch of this, right?
Oh,
and
gosh,
especially when you add in the ankle and all of that little stuff, it makes you go, you know, I could see that again, and it hypes you up for seeing more of this Okada Continental title run and more Buddy Matthews single stuff, which I think is really good.
Jamie, what did you think?
For me, this felt like it was Okada in like the middle of the G1 level. Like he was doing some cool stuff, but still holding enough back because, you know, there's bigger stuff to come in this storyline. I loved all of the call-outs from Buddy to Rhea with the entrance. He did the Riptide, he did the Storm, the submission move. I'm like, this is just a Rhea Ripley tribute match from Buddy, but it was awesome. And yeah, the ankle definitely played a big part in this because he started off on fire, and you could see towards the end he sort of started to feel it and be like, okay, now my foot hurts.
Yeah.
Slowed down a bit towards the latter third of the match.
Okay. As a match, great. Really, really good. Here's what I would have liked. I would have liked it to have been a non-title match, and if Buddy wins, he then gets Okada in a title match somewhere at some point. You know, they can build it, you know, within the next X months, and he wins. And the reason I'm saying that is because we'd seen Australian lose after Australian lose after Australian lose after Australian lose. And I think by this point, the crowd were beginning to go, well, we think Tony's going to win, but for fuck's sake, can we get someone else with a run on the board?
That's what you were supposed to think, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but it would have been really nice for Buddy as well if they'd have gone, hey, we know you guys are going to put on a great match.
It would have been nice. It would have been nice for Buddy, but that's being saved for Ospreay at All In.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. But a great match. Like, booking decision aside, great match. All right, let's just talk about this main event for a second. We had Toni Storm, Timeless Toni Storm, defeating Mariah May in 15 minutes for the AEW Women's World Title. Jamie, how was it?
I enjoyed this match. My problem was this was a pretty lengthy card. By the time we got to this match, there were a lot of families and stuff beginning to leave. Which I think hurt the match. So there was a lot of people with kids that were like, it's nearly 11 o'clock, like we need to get out of here. So
which is what I hear happens a lot on the AEW tapings in America, because they either tape half of Ring of Honor before and then half of Ring of Honor after, or they do the whole, like they did tonight, the whole thing. If they'd have started it an hour early, they probably would have been golden. But yeah, you're right. Like, I think I pointed it out. I think I pointed it out to you. It was like there were a lot of kids leaving because it was like 9:45 or something by that time. I think
if they just started on time, because we were in the doors at 6:30 and the show didn't start for nearly another hour.
Oh, Jesus, that would drive me bonko. Lachlan, how was it?
The getting to see Tony win was fantastic. Getting to see a big entrance from Tony was fantastic. I think a lot of the individual moments in the match were really good. Like, Tony just about took Mariah's head off with some of those suplexes. You know, you got the Mayday on the floor and all of that stuff. So it was like a good hard-hitting match, but I definitely think there was some crowd exhaustion playing into that. In saying that, I think that if they had done any work at all, that I was aware of at least, of the fact that young Tony had been winning everything with roll-ups, that was the thing that Timeless Tony learned by being young Tony again, is how to be the underdog and win with a roll-up. It would have gotten the crowd, I guess, invested when she went for the roll-up, because I think when it was a roll-up finish, everyone assumed that was going to be a 2 count that then led into a big finishing move, which got the 3. So it really didn't feel like the thing that would get the 3. Whereas if they had put some fan direction into the, hey, notice all those small package wins that she got just recently? That's really interesting. If there'd been a mention of that, I think it would have popped everyone. But
they just assume everyone's watching and seeing that stuff.
Yeah, and also we didn't see that we weren't hearing the commentary, so we don't know.
That's true.
From memory, there wasn't much said about.
No, there wasn't. I rewatched it on Sunday. They didn't mention the roll-ups much either.
Memory, yeah. Thanks, Jamie, verifying what I'm saying. Todd, anything to add?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was like that. The pop for the finish was great because it was out of nowhere. Like a small package is it's not a absolutely decisive win, but maybe they don't want that because maybe they want to keep something for those two going on somewhere down the line. So maybe, and then she cut the promo like today, which was fucking funny. If you get a chance, if you get a chance, do watch that on Dynamite. It was good. Also, I want to shout out like the interview that Tobias did with Tony before on the Thursday before, because it is. I've actually watched that thing about 2 or 3 times now because I think it's hilarious. It's such a good not normal Tony Storm interview. So do go and check it out. I loved it. I love the post show promo. I don't know if they put that on the Collision taping or not. No, yeah. So that was really good as well because it was basically something you would expect to hear from Tony if she was doing it at like a PWL show at the end of it. Do you know what I mean? That it was the same sort of promo like if anyone's going to the Gold Coast, can you let me know I need a lift? All this sort of stuff. I was going to do the nut bush, the world's biggest nut bush, but unfortunately I'd torn my labia.
Yeah, I heard her say that. I saw a video, there was a video on her social of that sort of thing, which was really, really nice. I've got to agree with what Matt Hustwaite says here. He does say AEW needs to do a better job of making those story beats clear. Tony figures all of the viewers are in the weeds as deep as he is. It's quite true. It's quite true. I haven't watched an AEW show for a month or so, and some of the things had me a little bit confused. But look, I thought this main event was great. I want to shout out Luther's work. He did such a good job of keeping the crowd going. Sure, look, absolutely families were leaving and things like that, but Luther was yet being a real cheerleader for Tony and clearly having fun in the role that he's doing right now. Tony apparently has been taking a lot of advice from, or originally took some advice from Dustin Runnels on this character, because obviously there are similarities between this character and Goldust. And I think that kind of shines through, particularly with Luther's work in a babyface managerial role. I really enjoyed his work. I thought that this was a fun match. This wasn't particularly hold for hold amazing. You are quite right. Some of those suplexes and clotheslines and chops were incredible, but it wasn't like your hold for hold, really down and fantastic scientific match like these two could do. But yet it was fun. It was just a lot of fun, and I was really, really happy. I thought this was a great show, and the crowd were there. The crowd were on point the whole show. Copeland's reaction to being sung to the ring was just quite fantastic. And I thought this was a terrific AEW show, and for their first Australian show, look, they did everything right. But as I said, I would have. I guess for me, I wanted. Sorry, Lachlan, I apologise. I guess for me, I would have liked an indication that we're definitely going to have Matthews against Okada 2, and giving him the win in Australia would have been a nice moment. Jamie, your thoughts overall?
Overall, awesome show to be at live. They announced they'll be back next year, so very keen for that, following how well this show was received. I wouldn't be shocked if they hold Buddy and Okada until next year when they come back, and then have that as your main event. especially if it's in Melbourne.
Absolutely. Lachlan, any thoughts to add?
I just wanted to be in Brisbane to see everyone lose their minds again. Really?
That'd be so good. Look, I have a little bit of I'm only saying this now because I've got some other chicken shit to do. It's a bit disappointing for me to hear all of this celebration over the third highest gate in company history when an event like Revolution last year sold more tickets. So it shows that, look, I understand they've got to, fly wrestlers down and everything, but it does show that the Australian market gets a nice little price hike. I do have to point out that the merch situation was rough. I don't know if we've explicitly said what was going on.
No, we haven't talked about it at all.
I'll be quick. As media, it was awesome to get those amazing seats. Get a chance to cover this live was absolutely incredible. If we didn't, I would have bought a ticket. I would have definitely gone to this. I know that Jamie would have been the same. Todd, I know you were absolutely blasted from working shows. But if we'd bought a ticket, we would have walked in, lined up for merch. Because we were media, we had to wait in the heat till 5:30 to get tickets, at which point the merch was closed because they had sold everything at the one merch space, which was inside the ticketed venue. On top of that, outside the venue where we were waiting with the box office, nowhere to get any drinks or food. So that was a bit of a bummer, right? It just shows that there's a lot of little things where this could have been handled a little better. For a company that's got so many people who want to buy merch, we know what the AEW fan base is like. We've heard the t-shirt company jokes plenty of times. And Matt says the merch situation is not uncommon for AEW, apparently. Even in the States, that happens regularly.
They always only have one stand.
Yeah, I was going to say there was somebody complaining about it online, and I was like, "Are you really complaining? Are you really blaming Brisbane for the merch issue? It's not a state issue; it's a fucking company issue.
It's an AEW issue, and it's something
I've been to
that
4 AEW shows, and they've all only had one merch stand.
Yeah,
that's a crying shame, and as you're saying, Lachlan, it's quite crazy considering. Again, the only thing we could really compare it to is Elimination Chamber, where there were 30 stands out the front. There were 3 or 4 stands inside. There was also an extra stand outside, like a big tent, and a huge gazebo in the middle of Perth City. I mean, sure, AEW is not at WWE standing as yet, but one thing they should do is have at least 3 to 5 merch stands inside
well, if they'd had three merch stands, I think they would have been. But they also would have needed to make sure they had the stock.
The stock,
and that's
exactly.
just
stock was the problem, right? As much as the one merch stand is silly, the fact that it was all gone is the problem, right?
Well, it's not a problem for them because they sold them out.
They sold their stuff. They didn't have to ship anything home. But I do.
Yep.
No,
well, you don't get to say. You don't get to say, Lachlan.
You don't.
You're out.
Lachlan, we don't want to hear it anymore. Todd, what did you think of this one? Oh, he's coming back. Is he still talking?
Oh, he was in sepia tone there for a second there.
He was.
Yeah, I was also going to say, I would have just loved one food truck outside the venue as well. Just one. Just so I could buy a bottle of water.
Yeah.
That sounds like a mess.
Look, I know people are complaining about it. For someone who drove, I had quite an easy time. Straight into my car park. It cost me $18 to park, which is fine. If the government hadn't have fucked up and done the maintenance on the track or whatever they were doing, this would have been a completely different story. Because I regularly go to football games at Suncorp, where the train is right out in front of the state, right out in front of the grounds. There is no trouble with that, egress and access to a ground for that. No trouble at all. I think it was poor. Oh, yeah, very well, Tim. Really fucking no shit, Sherlock. Sorry, he just wrote no. Not everyone lives in Brisbane, Todd. No shit, mate.
I don't live in
fucking
Brisbane.
gold fucking medal. You live in a half-country town in Newcastle. Don't fucking talk. If the trains and all that were working fine, if they weren't doing the maintenance, none of this would have been a problem. None of this would have been a problem. And not only that, you want to complain, the fucking our public transport up here is 50 cents. If you can't break out 50 cents, that's more your issue than theirs.
Yeah. What I was going to jump in with before is, like, obviously these are problems, and my camera's gone again. Obviously these are problems that we can talk about a lot. And, you know, I went to see the Killers at the Entertainment Center a couple of months ago, and they had 3 merch stands, right? So surely AEW can do it. But that is to say, these are the issues that made an event that could have been absolutely fantastic into an event that was just very, very good. I thought the wrestling was fantastic. Other than some shaved time and an earlier start, really the actual wrestling show that we went to watch was bloody great. It's hard.
But I will say too, like, how long did it take us to get into the ground? It took us bugger all time to get into the ground. It took us bugger all time to get into our seats.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't. It's not like we were lining up for hours here. It was fine. Like, because I thought about it too. Like, we were bitching and moaning at the time. Like, oh, we've got to wait till 5:30. Like, if we actually just time managed properly, we could have just rocked up at 5:30, and we would have been fine. We wouldn't have had to wait outside.
To be fair, that is also on the AEW PR not telling us until 4 o'clock. That
yes, 100%, 100%. But yeah, it's like I've 100% had worse times trying to get into Rod Laver for UFC. I had worse times trying to get into the MCG before.
I had a worse time getting into Double or Nothing in Vegas 2 years ago. They had one, and everybody was trying to get in that one door.
That's ridiculous. We had a worse time at WrestleMania 30. Our door wasn't open, so I went in a door early, and the poor guy I was with had to queue up till halfway through the opening match to even get in. So yeah, look, you can't blame in everything on the stadium, because, you know, even the best in the world, like AEW in their home country and WWE in New Orleans, they get it wrong. But I tell you what, it sounds like pretty much everything was right. My biggest gripe is that the city didn't seem to support them, and Tony Khan has sworn up and down that they got a bunch of money from them, and it would have been nice.
Well, he never said anything about money.
No,
he just said they wanted them.
They wanted us.
Yeah.
You
know what else
I think
you want to
comes
do?
down to, for me, sorry to interrupt again, Jeff, is I think that if we are just talking about what it was like to watch Grand Slam, it was bloody excellent, right?
Yeah.
What it was like to be in an arena and watch AEW Grand Slam, it was an absolute Grand Slam. That's what it was. It nailed it. It's those little external factors that are the problem.
Yeah. Let's also talk about, like, stuff surrounding it. We're not going to talk about the Super Show in depth because we're going to wait till that's actually out, and I've been advised it'll be about 2 weeks before it's out for the general public to see. But for those of us that weren't on the show, like, technically I was on the show. Lachlan, you got to watch the whole show. Jamie, you got to watch the whole show. Just give us a sort of a brief overview. Don't go too deep into it because we're going to do that when we do the review. What did you think of the Pro League and Renegades Wrestling Super Show?
Jamie, do you want to take it first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I actually have a written feature about this coming up tomorrow, and my thoughts were that this proved that Australian wrestling belongs on the global stage alongside AEW and WWE, because our guys put on an almost equal great show.
Yeah, we watched, but like Global Wars and Grand Slam was 10 matches. I think if you include the dark match from the Super Show, it was 9 matches. I think match for match, ring quality, I think the Super Show might have been a better show. Like, it's close either way. Like, obviously, you know, Omega and Ospreay are going to put on something incredible. But Robbie Eagles was on both shows putting on a clinic. Right? Like, there was matches. I also really liked about the Super Show that there was a lot of variety going into it. It is a big call, Paradox Gaming TV. You're absolutely right. But as somebody who was honestly a similar distance from the ring both nights, they were both really good shows, and it was really exciting to go to an AEW show and be that close to the ring and go, oh, some of those guys that we see, there might be those tiny 1% things that I'm not noticing, but if I'm not noticing them, knowing the amount of wrestling that I watch, there are plenty of people also not noticing them. So those are things that those people can strive for, and I can say, personally, the vibe that was at AEW takes it over the line, but that ring quality at Eaton's Hill, the wrestling that went into it, the results that were there, I thought it was a bloody fantastic show. I loved it. Alex Fireheart in the chat saying, crowd were fantastic.
Hot all night for everyone.
Alex Fireheart said it was nice to go to Eaton's Hill for a local show. It was a nice change of pace. I think that's the first non-World Series wrestling show that Alex has gone to in Brisbane since PWAQ Rise of the Warriors 2009, and was definitely worth it. Like, having someone like Alex there who once again didn't say hello, how dare you? I just think that the venue was great. The matches were great. The commentary was subpar, but that's fine. I thought it was a great.
Manages
show.
to stream other people's gear, not so great.
Who did the commentary? Which schlub?
You don't put your leg out for long enough, you get your fucking gear destroyed. All right.
Jamie, did you do the commentary for the Super Show, mate? Well, you know, if Jamie did it, I'd have to watch it. If any other idiot does it, I've got to put it on mute. No, I'm looking forward to seeing that show quite a bit. I have heard very, very, very positive things about it, including a really happy Renegades guy who was actually rarely happy about the shows. He thought this was a banger. He really did.
I'll talk about... sorry, Todd, you go.
I was going to say, you went to Tamashi as well, so do you want to talk about... The only one we didn't go to see was Rock and Wrestling because we were working that night, so...
Technically, there was also the PWA show on the Saturday night where if you left AEW early, you could probably catch some of it. By the time I got there, they were packing down the ring, but that's okay. I tried my best. But good night either way. The Tamashi show, I think the headline was that it was hot. It was really, really hot in that venue. And I think that the Tamashi show suffered a little bit from exactly what a lot of the shows were trying to capitalize on, which is having a casual audience captive ready for wrestling, right? And when you've got that mainstream wrestling audience, the New Japan Tamashi style is not the same style of match. I'll give the same criticism, and I'm going to chat to one of the guys behind it as well and say this. I think the best thing that they could have done for this show was cut down the length of every match on the card, because in that heat with fans who have been watching wrestling for 3 days straight, it was hard to keep fans invested for 20-minute matches, which is the kind of thing that they were doing. But the talent on the show was really stellar. You've got people like JXT, Erica Reed, Culture, Jack Bonza, like people who always put on a great show, right? Like Richard Palmer in the chat saying Tamashi was good except location because of the heat. Like Keanu in the chat, Tamashi was fun and it was really hot. Like the heat was taking it out of the fans, surely was taking it out of the wrestlers as well, and just resulted in a show that was, like, unfortunately very quiet for the quality of in-ring action, right? Like, that's what it ended up being. And you could see the people who got a really good reaction were the Cultures and the Jake Taylors and the JXTs. Like, those people were getting a reaction because that's what they're really, really good at. Whereas the more Tamashi guys, the more in-ring guys that were focused on it doing really good wrestling and wanting the crowd to see how good they were at wrestling, got almost nothing out of it despite having really good matches. So I think that is a learning experience for Tamashi about what it means to be in there with a big AEW or WWE style show and the crowd you're going to get. And Keanu is exactly right. But overall, great action. Cool to see Mustafa Jordan too. He was phenomenal. Like, again, one of the guys who was actually working the crowd, putting in the effort. I think that it was, if you can take out the heat, it would have been an absolutely stellar show.
You know what else is a stellar show? What else is stellar shows are the shows that are coming up in Australia at the moment. And we've got to talk about them. We've got to talk about some of these shows. Oz Pro Wrestling here in Melbourne, Sunday, March 2 at the Central Ringwood Community Centre. Their second show, Reaching the Brass Ring. Listen to this card. Ricky D. Byrne against A.F. Cover. Fun Time Phil against Kai Toa. That is going to be incredible. Aisha against Charlie Rose is going to be great. Nate Hunter against JJ Furno. Holy shit, it gets better and better. Bush Kelly against Hector Jones. I'm looking forward to that. Owen Stedman and Ben and Breakfast against Tommy Hellfire and Black Diamonds. That was set up at their first show. And their line match, OPW Women's Championship, Erica Reed against Tessa Armstrong. This is going to be one great show. I know tickets are selling really well, so make sure you get yours. The following
just quickly
weekend,
on that OPW Women's Championship match, can anyone remind me what happened last time Erica Reed defended a title against a Queenslander?
Not good things for her.
Queenslander walked away with the title. Interesting. Sorry, Jeff, go on.
Actually, thanks, Lachlan. Anyway, I'll move on. Renegades of Wrestling 2025. We Are Renegades is on Sunday, the 9th of March at the Northwood Theatre. Doors are at 6. Normally they're a bit earlier. Doors are at 6. Bell time's at 7. The family-friendly event. We have the Renegades of Wrestling World Championship match. Now, unfortunately, Levi Nixon attacked Emin Osman on his way out of the country. We're going to miss you, Emin. So it is a one-on-one match now. Levi Nixon against Mitch Waterman for the Renegades of Wrestling World Championship. That is going to be great. The Renegades Rumble. This is their annual event. It's kind of their everyone brings a weapon and goes apeshit. It's going to be that. Last year, Fun Time Phil's weapon was Brother Ghoul. Who knows what's going to happen? This is going to be fantastic. No. I think it was
Gore is an absolute weapon.
It was Dan Abba who said, "What are they? You've just bought a pack of chips in. Is that your weapon?" And he goes, "No, that's not my weapon. That is an Outlaws Gore." It was very funny. And then, of course, this newcomer to the scene hasn't been around for a few years. 6 years since we've seen Indy Hartwell wrestle in Melbourne. She's going to go up against Aisha for the Renegades of Wrestling Women's Championship. There's more matches going to be announced. This is going to be one hell of a show. The week after that, the Thornbury Theatre, March 15. Tickets are on sale now for MCW Anniversary. There's been some cryptic videos flying around. Check them out, mcwtix.com.au. There aren't many. I think they're down to standing room, so really, really sold well. The matches announced so far: the MCW World Championship, Ricky South against Edward Dusk against Caveman Ugg, plus the Intercommonwealth Championship, Robbie Thorpe against Adam Brooks. This weekend in Oz Wrestling, there is so much going down. Thank you so
Jeff,
much.
can I cut you off because you've had a chance to Excalibur, and I would love my turn this week with a big special shout out to Michael Lee at the Australian Wrestling Community Facebook page, who has done an excellent job as he's going on holiday uploading 2 back-to-back weeks worth of all of the shows that are coming up. I'm sorry, Jeff. I just couldn't help myself. I'm so excited. If you're in ACT this weekend, Slam Pro Wrestling League's Academy Showcase number 7 is on Saturday, February 22nd. If you're in New South Wales on Friday, February 21st, that's tomorrow night. IWA International Wrestling Australia's Suplex on the Sand number 5. Meanwhile, on Saturday night in New South Wales, the 22nd, you got VCW Vulcan Championship Wrestling Australia's New Breed, as well as PWA Pro Wrestling Australia's Rampage fundraiser, so get along to that. Up in the Northern Territory, that's right, every state's represented this weekend. Top End Wrestling on Saturday the 22nd has Saturday night fights. Meanwhile, here in Queensland on Saturday, there's 3 shows to pick from. IPW's Ladder Wars was a staple for them every year. Venom Pro Wrestling's reshuffling the deck. Meanwhile, Todd and I are going to be at Wide Bay Pro Wrestling's Target Undeniable, which has got an absolutely stacked card that we were just talking about before we went on air. In South Australia, ACW, Adelaide Championship Wrestling, has Rise to Glory on Saturday the 22nd. Also on Saturday the 22nd, if you're in Tasmania, you can get along to Tasmanian Championship Wrestling's Annihilation 12. Victoria's always a busy state, and tonight you're not attending Slam from PCW, but on Saturday night you could be attending Risk from Professional Championship Wrestling. Also on that night is Lucha Fantastica's Love Battle Melbourne, while tomorrow night on Friday, Adrenaline Professional Wrestling has New Beginnings 4, and over in Western Australia you've got an option for tomorrow and for Saturday. Friday, February the 21st has Dude Where's My Ring Perth's Catalina Wine Mixer, while Saturday, February 22nd has EPW's Rising Tide. Get amongst it.
All right. Can you broke up for me there, Lachlan? Can you repeat all that again? While he's doing that, we're going to take
from the top. Here we go.
While he's doing that, we're going to take a short break. We've got a lot of international news to talk about. Some I like, some I don't. I'm sure you boys are in the same boat. So we will be right back after this.
WrestleBrania will debut for the 2025 Adelaide Fringe Festival at Arthur's Art Bar, and we are extra excited to announce that we'll be partnering with Riot City Wrestling. We've got 4 big shows, 4 different lineups with comedians from the festival and wrestlers from Riot City. On Friday the 14th, we have Grim Basso versus Mickey Fortune. Saturday the 15th, Dean Brady takes on a surprise opponent. On Sunday the 16th of March, we have Mr. Cliff versus Banjo Powers. And on Monday the 17th of March, our final show, Richard Guda will take on Down Under. WrestleBrania for the 2025 Adelaide Fringe Festival at Arthur's Art Bar. What are you doing already? Get your ass there, buddy!
This is the last time I'm going to perform in Australia. Like, this is it. And I know that. So
You
that,
get to, like,
yeah.
when you wake up.
When I wake up, I can experience this and really just soak it all in. Hey everybody, it's Radar Superstar Adam Copeland. I got a bunch of handles. Anyway, call me what you want, but you are listening to WRA, Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Wrestle Radio Australia. I am Lachlan Albert, and I am here with the Dark King from the Kings of Ruin, representing Riot City. It's the man, Zach Sabbath. How you doing, man?
Thanks for having me, mate.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. So we're here, obviously, we're filming right before the Australian Wrestling Super Show, Pro Wrestling League, Renegades of Wrestling. Obviously, you're here representing Riot City. One of only a couple of people on the card.
Yeah, mate.
RCW.
There's 3 of us. There's 3 of us from Riot City on. It's me, Matt Hayter, and Dean Brady. Yeah.
So what do you hope tonight shows Australian wrestling about Riot City?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I just, one, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy for us to be involved because there's about 13 feds being represented in one show, which is absolutely astronomical. My hand is so sore from shaking. Say hello to everyone. There are so many people here. But well, I'm very much excited to show Queensland wrestling and all of Australia what we can do. I'm a firm believer that we're in the top bracket in Australian wrestling personally, but I'm incredibly biased. I'm not talking about myself, but us as a company, I feel we're doing really good things at the moment. It's only going to get bigger and better. We've got one of the best schools, if not like one of the most prestigious and successful schools in all the entire country. So it's very cool to be here and show everyone what we can do.
Yeah, and I mean, if you talk about names that have come out of Riot City, it's pretty hard to argue about the success. Right?
Yeah, Zach Sabbath, Matt Hayter, Dean Brady.
The Mickey Fortunes of the world.
Oh, yeah, mate. She's going to be my, just a shameless plug, my beautiful wife, Mickey Fortune. She's she's going to be the next big thing. She's been around a long time. She's got a work rate, and she's tough as nails. I think she's the future. If she doesn't blow up in Japan, someone's going to notice her in the States, surely, because she's the goods. But of course, you got old mate Rhea and old mate bloody Zarya killing it as well. Like somehow Australia, like RCW just produces top female talent, and the rest of us are mediocre.
Well, that's kind of. I don't think the rest of you are mediocre at all. But like, how does it play into the mental game of wrestling when you get to look at people that you've worked with going off to this international success, and then working around the country and trying to follow in those footsteps almost?
Yeah, I was thinking about that not too long ago. Like, I've been around a long time. This is my 19th year in wrestling, and all these guys that used to work back in the day, like Duke Hudson, J-Rock, who's now Bronson Reed. Worked Robbie Eagles back in the day, and he's killing the game.
Main eventing here tonight. Ring of Honor title match tomorrow night.
Fantastic. How cool is that, right?
Unreal.
All these guys, and obviously I feuded with old mate Rhea for like a year and a half. All these guys that I used to wrestle on the regular have gone on to do these amazing things. And it's really, like, it's a bittersweet moment for me because I unfortunately got hurt. I feel I could have chased something. I'm too old now. All I care about is being a coach. That's the more I do, the more I can pass on, is the way I think of it these days, because I'm almost 40. So, but yeah, it's really, really cool. It's awesome that all these guys that I used to work now have such big successes. I couldn't be happier. It's just a great thing for Australian wrestling. I love Australian wrestling, and I love seeing people succeed in Australian wrestling. It's really cool. I love it.
Absolutely. We might.
Hey guys, hello Melbourne. WrestleBrania is coming back.
Renegades of Wrestling presents WrestleBrania at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival 2025.
Melbourne Comedy Festival.
Join us at the Burgee Band Room, Sydney Road, Brunswick on the 30th of March, the 6th of April and the 13th of April.
And get your tickets at WrestleBrania at the Comedy Festival right now.
Tickets are on sale now. Buy ticket.
Make sure you get your tickets to it, because otherwise Mama's going to be disappointed in you.
Wrestlers, comedians, laughter and action.
We had a blast and we will too.
Buy tickets now.
Now don't sit in your couches. Go get your tickets right now. So hurry up or be a little loser and sit at home. Be there.
Be there. Or else.
I just want to point something out. Thank you so much for playing those for us, Todd. Someone sent a message yesterday asking if Jordan and Rhea and Bianca and Jody were artificial reality. If we used AI animation. Lachlan was near me he wasn't with me, but he was in the same city as me when I was interviewing Bianca and Rhea. Todd knows I interviewed Bianca and Rhea, and Todd, Lachlan, and I were in a show with Jordan and Jody, and Jamie was watching that show. So it's not entirely impossible for us to get them, but it's really funny that a few people thought it was AI. Like, I wish I had time. And now all three are with WWE. And speaking with WWE, there's a lot of news coming from Stamford, as they used to call it. Ricky Starks has a new name of Ricky Saints. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't go with Ricky Sparks. If they wanted to change it to Sparks.
Well, because he's from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess, yeah, okay.
And they haven't said that he didn't have to be, but I reckon because of Zoe Stark, you couldn't really.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. It was a pretty packed NXT. It was a very good episode. Moose came out and confronted Oba Femi, and next week he'll defend the X Division title against Lexus King. What are our thoughts on this, gents?
I'm confused why he confronted Oba Femi, but then the match is against Lexus King.
Because I think they're building Oba Femi and Moose to a maybe WrestleMania weekend pay-per-view, whereas he can just go in there and destroy fucking Lexus King for the X Division title, and it's nothing.
That makes more sense. When you first did that, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, well, because the way it happened on NXT was he confronted Oba Femi in the ring, and they did the whole standoff, blah blah blah, and then Lexus confronted him later on backstage, and then they set the other thing up. So it didn't all happen in one.
No. It wasn't one segment. It was intermittent throughout the evening. Also, what happened on NXT this week is the No Quarter Catch Crews, Tavon Heights and Miles Bourne threw down the gauntlet for the Hardy Boys to face them on next week's NXT, proving that NXT is surely for young, up-and-coming talent who've never really appeared anywhere else.
Well, I mean, it gives the other two rubs.
You'll hear more about this from me later.
Guess
when? Yeah, okay. Also from WWE, inaugural WWE Men's and Women's WWE ID Championships have been created and will be determined by a tournament taking place at the top independent wrestling promotions. The belts will then be defended on the Indies. Further details about the tournament, including the participants and when it will be happening, have not been announced yet. But Kylie Ray, which is great because I'm a big fan of Kylie Ray. I think she's got a big upside. Jack Summit or Jack Cartwheel, Aaron Rourke, Marcus Mathers, Bryce Donovan, Zeta Steele, and Zara Zakur are among the talent that have been signed to WWE ID. That is what we need. We need WWE to have more championships.
But they're not being defended on WWE TV.
I know that.
They've never been. Yeah, I know, but it's just it's what all the neckbeards are saying. So don't be a neckbeard. You know what I mean?
When does Wide Bay get a WWE ID Championship match?
I got to talk to people.
No.
I got to talk to people.
But that's exactly what's great about it, right? Is a show like Wide Bay could have a WWE title defended at it. Straight up. That's what these titles are for, is imagine that you're going to your local show and a guy shows up and he goes, I got a WWE title and I'm going to put it on the line tonight. That's the kind of thing that gets you invested in local talent, local shows.
Yeah, it's a nice little, if you can advertise your WWE, say for instance Jack Summit won it, your WWE ID champion Jack Summit will be at Wide Bay Pro this weekend defending his title. It's a nice little thing for indies to be able to promote their stuff a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? Gives them a little bit of something extra to promote to fans.
I think this is excellent. I was being facetious. I do think this is excellent. I think this gives newer talent a chance to shine before they go to NXT and face the Hardy Boys. All right. So NXT Vengeance Day happened this week.
The beard is slowly moving down his face, just to the neck area. Yeah. Slowly moving down there.
It was a really good show. I like this show so much. I don't know if you guys watched it, but let's run through the card. The NXT Women's North American title changed hands with Stephanie Kirby, Fallon Henley, with Jacy Jayne and Jasmine Nix in a touch over 15 minutes. This was a terrific match. Not really a surprise. I think it's time for Fatal Attraction to start to look towards the main roster. They pretty much, they kind of exhausted their shtick on NXT, and I think moving up is the next logical step. Have you guys?
I think for at least Fallon, yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys watched the show? What were people's
yes.
thoughts?
Yeah.
Good. Let's go around. What did others think of this match? I thought it was great. I think Stephanie's such a machine.
Yeah, has there been a bad Stephanie Vaquer match in WWE? Because I can't think of one, right? And this felt like a bit of an about time, like, even though she hasn't been there that long, the fact that Julia had the top title, we knew that this was kind of the destiny for the North American title. And I think it's great to have really, established talent who are learning the WWE style, but are consistent workers and great for the young up-and-comers to work with, to be holding those belts so that you can have challengers move through them, give different people that experience every time, and, have belts that mean something because they're on great wrestlers. So I think that this was a great opportunity for Fallon Henley to work with someone experienced and show that she can have a marquee match like that, and Stephanie Vaquer was Stephanie Vaquer. It was good.
Guys, Todd, Jamie?
Yeah, no, I agree with Lachlan there completely.
Very much.
The NXT women's roster is insanely strong.
Yeah, I think they pointed out, like, today on Wrestling Observer, Alvarez pointed out that, like, yesterday's show was over 60% women's matches or women's segments for that space of time, which is good, because, I mean, all we have to do now is find out somehow a way to mute Booker T's mic, and it'll be a perfect show.
His commentary is wild.
I've got this special thing on my thing. It allows me to mute shit commentary, so I can't hear it. I don't know why they've got a 3-man booth. This show, absolutely, Corey said almost nothing. If you put what he said on a page, it's probably about a page and a half maximum.
Well, it's hard. It's hard when you've constantly got fucking Booker T. Oh yeah, man! Shut the fuck up. Let someone talk.
I also think that having someone on your commentary desk that when they come to the ring, fans are singing "Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, Hulk Hogan, we coming for you." That's not the brand identity you want, right?
Oh dear. He's just like this week when Moose came out. You could tell he didn't know who he was.
No idea.
He was filling time until the name come up on the screen so he could start saying who he was. Like, go back and watch it. Because he's like, you know who this guy is. Oh, yeah, man. And then Moose came out and said, Moose! Like, fuck you, idiot.
He's just distracting. Like, he takes you out of...
Yes.
In the matches, which is not what a commentator should.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of what he's there for.
Yeah, the amount of times in my head or possibly out loud, I just go, it's not about you, dickhead. When I'm listening to him, it just does my head in.
Yeah, but you say that when you're listening to me. All right, moving on. The next match was an absolute slap. I thought this was fantastic. Fraxium is there. There's a lot of people are calling them. Nathan Frazier and Axiom successfully defended the NXT tag title match against Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura in 10 minutes and 24 seconds. This was brilliant. My only complaint about this is I don't think there's a lot of teams for Axiom and Nathan Frazier to beat. And I think they kind of did a breakup angle towards the end of last year. And I think, don't you fucking know, Lachlan? I'm coming up to Queensland. Look, you've frozen now, so you deserve that. Look, I thought this was wonderful. I really did. So many innovative moves. Briggs and Inamura are just tremendous. And yeah, Keanu reviews saying Inamura needs a big singles run. I actually want to see this tag team go for a fair while. I don't want to see them split up. I think they've got good chemistry and they work really nicely together. They've got a different kind of look, and I like them. I really dig this match.
I like the way that they've used. I like the way that they've used Briggs' excursion to Noah to introduce Inamura. They like showing footage from him in Noah and how that came about, and all. I really dug that. I thought that's cool. Like, I know that we voted for TMDK as like tag team of the year last year. I don't know how we didn't really argue more for Fraxium. When you look at the breadth of their work, that's really an oversight on our part because they are really, really good. And I can see them taking them up to the main roster just as a unit now. I can't see them breaking up because there are certain teams that you put them together and like, well, that's never going to work. They've just thrown these two guys together because they haven't got nothing, they haven't got anything for them. I think this is how like Fraxium started, but then they teamed so well together. Like, oh, holy shit, we struck gold here. These guys are really fucking good. Like, I could see Fraxium against Machine Guns, and it'd be a killer match. I could see them against DIY. It'd be an absolute killer match. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like they just put together, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, these are one of the best tag teams in the world.
This is the kind of tag team that justifies WWE when they see solo guys that aren't working going, stick them in a tag team and see what happens. Because sometimes you get Fraxium, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's. I've got to agree with you, Todd. I think now the heel run, and it looked like it was going to be Nathan Fraser turning heel on Axiom. I think that's now been aborted. I think they're absolutely going to move them up together, and I think they're going to move them up together as soon as they lose those titles, which will probably be on the WrestleMania weekend. It just remains to be seen who they're up against. Don't start Lachlan. Now, after that, we had. There's nothing much more to say about that. It was a great match. Like, check it out. After that, we had a strap match. Eddie Thorpe defeating Trick Williams in 10 minutes and 58 seconds. Yeah, this was a thing that happened.
I totally disagree. I couldn't disagree more.
Really?
I thought this was great. Yeah. I hate strap matches so often. And so when you get big burly guys strapping each other, I love it.
My problem wasn't the match. My problem was the end.
Okay.
Why? Because Eddie Thorpe won?
Yeah, I want this feud to be over.
But it is now. Like, Trick's going to go up to the main roster, and now they've made Eddie Thorpe someone. Like, that was the whole idea behind it.
If that is what's happening, then that's fine.
My problem with this match was the entrances. Like, this is a strap match, really cold-blooded, angry, vicious match type. They both come out dancing, jovial, regular gear. I'm like, what? Isn't this like a grudge match? We should be wanting to absolutely destroy the other person, maybe come out in jeans and a shirt. No, they both come out in regular gear, both come out doing their regular dance pose stuff. I'm like, this is pulling me out of this supposed really heavy match.
Yeah,
that's a completely fair thing to say. Moving along, we had Ethan Page defeating Javon Evans in 11:59. I'll just say this is the most interesting I've found Javon Evans. He's actually getting a bit of babyface fire about him, instead of just going, I have a match that's against this guy and I'm going to be really impressive in ring, but not have fire. This actually had some fire to it. And I think that Ethan Page worked really well to give Evans a few good hope spots. What did others think?
I thought Ethan was great in this as well.
Yeah.
I thought the planning of it was brilliant with the mouth guard, so he could kick the mouth guard out of that last possible thing, and just the fact that they've renamed the Twist of Fate the Twisted Smile. I love that because it just plays off what he did to Javon. Javon's going to be the future of NXT and eventually WWE. He's got so much potential. It's just a matter of like unlocking that and just giving him time. I think he's what is he, 22? Something crazy like that. So, I mean, he's got years. He's gonna be great. He's gonna be so good. And Ethan kind of needed that win again to reestablish him, because he's that guy that can come in and lose to the babyface and not really lose anything from that moving forward. He's kind of like what and I've forgotten his name off the top of my head now. What's his name? Like 10.
Sean Spears.
Sean Spears. He's very much like Sean Spears in NXT. Like those two can go in there and lose all the time now, and help make the next guys. Because I think that's what their role is, really.
Yeah, and because they
have terrible news.
Recover.
Sorry
What's
to
that,
make us
mate?
all feel so old. Javon Evans is 20.
Yeah. See, I knew he was young.
Yeah.
Despicable.
Yeah, that's like when I was talking to Kyle, and he's like 25. I'm like, you're 25, and you're in a match with Ospreay, Omega, with Konosuke Takeshita as your tag partner. Holy shit!
So Javon's about
look out of place.
18. So Javon's about 18 months younger than me.
In what dog years?
Our next match was for the NXT title, the triple threat match. It is Obafemi defeating Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. I really like this. I thought this was such fun. It's good to see they've actually kind of gone, okay, Femi is a face. Like, the guy is a face. A massive, huge unit. Like, the size of him is enormous. He's got so much presence in ring. Loved it. Just thought this was a great match. Theory and Waller worked so well in making Femi look tremendous. I thought this was great, guys.
I like that in making a face out of Obafemi, they haven't taken away his edge, though. He's still, dangerous and doesn't really care who he hurts, but that doesn't take away from him being a face. I love that.
Yeah. I got to agree with that, Locke. Todd?
Yeah, like the only problem I see with Obafemi is I don't see who's going to be beating him, or who is a viable challenger for him. Because I look up and down that NXT roster and I can't see anyone. I can't even see Moose doing it. Yeah. It's just hard. It's hard because what are you going to do? You can't help the fact that he's a fucking monster. You can't help the fact that he's good at the promos. You can't help the fact that he works really well in the ring. So you kind of have to put him in the position he's in. But it's how do you make credible challenges for him?
It's going to have to be someone with backup that somehow cheats him out.
Yeah, like that new group came in, but there's no real figureheads of that group, and they haven't really expounded that anymore. So, what do we really talk about them other than they look like the Shield ish?
Let's think back. When Rhea Ripley was NXT Women's Champion, what did they have to do to get the strap off her? They brought Charlotte down, right?
Yeah.
Oba feels like the kind of guy who they go, oh, I don't know, have Kevin Owens beat him for the NXT title.
Yeah, send someone back in and never won the title and have them get their moment.
That would give Owens so much heat. Just saying that, just being there and mate, that'd be great. Actually, that's a really good call, Lachlan. Those four guys are most interesting. I am keen to play it out and see where it goes. I think it's going to be a really interesting one. There's not a lot more to say because we haven't been given a lot more information, and I like that. Even on this week's NXT, there wasn't a lot about them, but they caused a lot of havoc, we think. And the main event, and deserving the main event spot, Julia defeated Bayley, Cora Jade, and Roxanne Perez in 18 minutes and 31. You've got to think that's Roxanne's swan song in NXT, and she's now pretty much got a place on the main roster, but what a great match. All four of them really did well, played their parts brilliantly. It was 18 minutes that for me did not feel like 18 minutes. It felt a lot quicker than that. I thought it was about 12. Then I went, holy shit, that almost went 20 minutes. As with Obafemi, I don't know who can beat Julia. Julia is so good in ring that you're like, well, who could? And you look up and down the roster and you go...
Jordan Grace?
Jordan Grace, mate?
Big redhead, yeah. Stephanie McClure. The women's roster is very different to the men's roster when it comes to that sort of deal.
But it is stacked. It is a stacked roster. Even Jada Parker, they could even, pull the trigger on Jada and give her the win. Zaria, of course, is still there. She's doing really entertaining things. It was remiss not to write on this one that there was a beautiful beach volleyball TikTok video of Zaria and Sol Ruka that was just so funny. They're clearly into the tag team of Zaria and Sol Ruka to the point where they beat the Metaphor Girls this weekend, which is this week. on NXT, which is just fantastic. What do we think of the main event, gents?
Bloody good stuff.
I think it wasn't Bailey's best run, but then I also got to think maybe Bailey's just doing too much at the moment.
She's everywhere.
She is everywhere. She's running the risk of being overexposed.
And it feels like we're constantly seeing these posts of Bailey wrestling women that she inspired to wrestle, like week after week after week, right? Like we saw the Lyra Valkyria post of meeting Bailey, and then we saw was it Cora Jade's post about meeting Bailey before this match, and so I think clearly she's got a lot of love for what she's doing at the moment. But it does mean that in this match, I think she got a little bit outshone, which I think is fine when the women you're in the match with are Julia and Cora and Roxanne, who, to me, scream the future of WWE.
Yeah.
It almost feels like Bailey's on like a retirement tour run.
Yeah.
Let's go and work with people that I know I inspired and help get them to the next level and that sort of stuff.
I would agree. She's been pretty bloody good, and she's, she's probably got one eye on the clock, seeing that that particularly Becky has now gone, and doesn't seem to be in a rush to come back. She's in the latest Star Trek show apparently, so she's not going to be back for a while.
And Bailey's been wrestling what, 16, 17 years? That's a good career.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
I don't
speaking
watch a lot
of
of NXT. With the title matches, do they always put the title belts on that little podium during those matches?
I think WWE, I think main roster do it as well. They just it's not really just in shot.
It's a very nice
it is,
touch.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's a great touch. It's a great touch, and a lot of people have been walking up to the titles, and looking at it, the podium and things like that. It's been excellent. It's been absolutely tremendous seeing.
Rather than just hide them away at the timekeeper's desk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put them on display.
It's also easier for teams to grab and use as a weapon, which kind of makes more sense.
Yeah.
Instead of the pulling of the belt with the timekeeper and shit like that. I really like that. I thought this was a great show. I thought Vengeance Day, top to bottom, just tremendous. I'm so looking forward to seeing NXT's next shows, because quite clearly there are people who they're beginning to earmark, like Trick Williams, like probably Fallon Henley and a few others we've mentioned tonight, that have one eye on moving up, and Roxanne Perez pretty much always has, because Roxanne is in the Elimination Chamber. Let's quickly go through the card. We have, let's start with the Women's Elimination Chamber. As I said, Roxanne Perez will be going up against Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, Bayley, and Naomi. That is going to be one hell of a match. Will they do it? Will they put Roxanne getting the win and go to WrestleMania and facing Rhea?
Thing is, I don't see anyone standing out as a logical challenge to Rhea. Like, I see Bianca, but then they've got to do something with those tag titles, don't they? Before, like Bianca and Rhea. Now that's like a money shot match. It's one we've wanted for ages.
They've been building it for years.
Yeah, exactly. So
What scares me about that
I
is
don't want to see fucking Liv. Yeah, I don't want to see Liv.
Don't do that again, please.
And I don't think Alexa is ready yet. And I mean that in the sense of ring rust. She probably can't. She's probably not up to wrestling a 30-minute match, which you would expect a WrestleMania match to go against Rhea Ripley.
Also, there's nothing there for that.
No.
She's been back 5 minutes, and she had they're still going to be doing the flirting with the Wyatt Six thing, I think.
But that's my worry, is that they stop flirting with the Wyatt Six and have the Wyatt Six interfere on her behalf, and that's the storyline going into Mania, is that she doesn't want them there, but they're supporting her.
When people just show up and win shit, it really pisses a bunch of fans and other people off.
Hopefully they pull the trigger and walks in. That'd be awesome. That'd be a great moment.
It would be great. It'd be a great match, too, because Roxanne works really well against big opponents. The men's chamber match, John Cena, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Damian Priest, and Seth Rollins. Look, this is an excellent lineup. Just get rid of Logan Paul as a human being, and I'd love it. As a wrestler, no problem. As a human being, fuck off. Look, there's so many stories going into this Elimination Chamber match. I'm so there for this. Who do you guys think is going to do this?
Oh boy.
I think it's going to be John Cena, but I don't know.
John Cena.
John Cena.
There's too many, so many possibilities for them to rehash things that are finished in this match is what I'm worried about, right? I don't want it to turn into Drew versus Punk again, and I don't want it to turn into Punk versus Rollins, which, Punk versus Rollins is the Mania match that they're going to do, right? So that's going to happen. I think that Keanu Reviews might be right that it could be John versus Logan at Mania, because I think that is a very interesting Mania match for people who aren't super invested. And then if you're trying to then grasp those people, 2 months down the line, you do a pay-per-view where the main event is John Cena finally getting his title shot on the retirement tour. Can he do it?
Yeah, Cena versus Logan is your very mainstream, get casual audience in match.
Yeah,
it is very much so.
So then, who do you have winning it? You have Drew, or do you have Damian Priest? Which neither are really. I'm looking at it going, wow, that's a. Well, you just said Punk Rollins is WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, I did too, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I want it to be Punk because I think that, again, you sell the casual fans on it. I think it works. But if that's... I think it's logical that becomes the match, which leaves Drew or Priest.
Which means you look at that, right? That means that there's actual no logical path for Roman for anything title-wise. So what do they end up doing with Roman? Is it going to be Roman and Jacob? Or
that's like the logical thing to me. And you have Jacob go over Roman.
That does sound logical.
But you look at it and you can have Cena win, but then you go, okay, Cena, Logan Paul, that'd be cool. You want Punk to win, but you're like, but Punk and Rollins would be WrestleMania, that'd be great. You want you look at Drew McIntyre and you're like, oh, really? Drew McIntyre and Cody, do I look at that as a WrestleMania title match? I don't know. You don't want Logan Paul because you want Logan Paul and John Cena. Damian Priest, I hate to say it, but who really cares? Damian Priest and Cody, do you really care about that?
Damian's probably eating the pin in this.
Well, they're all eating a pin, mate, except one guy.
I've got this feeling that...
They're all doing it, brother.
They go, Drew McIntyre is a classic big foreign heel for the American champion Cody Rhodes on your most mainstream show of the year.
Yeah, but it's Scotland. Scotland's not exactly the big bad foreigner.
Will you
somehow get Punk, Rollins, and Cody in the main event of Mania?
What, a triple knockout? Some shit.
But do they somehow get it into a triple threat at Mania? Have Punk win this, and then somehow Seth gets inserted later?
I think it's going to be Cena, but I think Cena's going to win because two masked men will come out and they'll just beat everybody else up, and Cena will pin and win, and they'll take their masks off. It'll be the Hardy Boys. Gotta happen. It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen.
You know, I knew from the start this was going to be shit, but I'm going to let this play out because let him go.
We've got a tag match where you have Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton against Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I mean, I don't think there's any way. There is no way Trish and Tiff aren't winning. That's just.
Oh, unless Charlotte has something to say about that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a clean finish at all.
Yeah, that's true. And finally, an unsanctioned match, Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn. These guys don't have bad matches. They don't have bad matches. And this is going to be another absolute banger. I don't care who wins. The viewers are going to win. really.
Yeah, this is going to have to be something screwy to lead them to go to WrestleMania, surely.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. It will be. There's absolutely no way it won't be. I think it's going to be fantastic. So yeah, that's going to be great. That is on March 1. That is Sunday. Our time, you'll be able to watch it. A week later, Revolution, Sunday, March 9. AEW World Champion John Moxley defends against Cope. AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita defends against Kenny Omega. Will Ospreay against Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage match. And Big Boom AJ against Thaddeus Buckshot Aurelius, or TBA. There we go. That's about it for the news. Obviously a very successful weekend for AEW and a very successful weekend for Australian wrestling, but we can't like everything in wrestling. Oh, no. With the good comes the bad. And we're going to talk about the bad right now. That's right. It's our chicken shit. Each and every week we talk about our chicken shit here at Wrestle Radio Australia, never missing a beat. Jamie, what's pissed you off this week, mate?
We spoke about it earlier. Ringgate. What the hell? Can we just not talk about dumb shit? It's not worth lifting. It doesn't
Jamie,
change.
we're wrestling fans. Come on. If we're not talking about dumb shit, we got nothing to talk about.
Mate, there is some Nimrod on X who actually made a whole video explaining the difference in the rings. Like, give me a fucking break.
Absolutely. Lachlan, what pissed you off this week, mate?
Going to be a bit vague on this one. I'll jump in with some of the people in the chat first. Matt Huswaite saying chicken shit prices for some local shows starting to look less affordable, which is always concerning. I'm going to say I really don't like the practice that I'm starting to see more, which is local shows booking against each other. I understand that there is a critical mass of companies in this country where there are only so many weekend dates where you're going to be able to get wrestling fans to a show. And to an extent, that's understandable. But I think there's a difference between that and people going, yeah, we'll run against them. I think sometimes it's even purposeful of, you know what, we can beat them. We can take some of their ticket sales. And that's shit.
Oh, so shit that he left the chat.
Lachlan dropped out on us once again. Todd, what pissed you off this week, mate?
Okay, it didn't piss me off, but this is shit, okay? Like, we've given AEW shit before for some of their TV, their T-shirt choices. I just want to show you guys this. I don't know if it's going to come up on the screen or not.
Oh, yeah.
That is an actual that is Death Riders merch. That little thing in the corner there?
It says property of the Death Riders.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
And they are selling that for $30 American.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
So for those of you that are listening on the podcast, it is a plain white t-shirt with very small writing in the bottom corner saying property of the Death Riders.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Now,
which the funny thing is, like, I got shown it, and I thought, nah, this is somebody's trying to wind me up here. So I actually went to the website to check it.
Yeah, that's getting pretty ridiculous.
It's terrible.
I'm sorry. I don't want to see the Hardy Boys wrestle ever again. They're both prone to injury. They're both at an age now where time is definitely against them. I know it might not be a popular thought. No Quarter Catch crew are great. Hardy Boys have been great. They've given so much to wrestling. But I just don't need to see them anymore.
To be fair, they're doing a lot for TNA at the moment with their tag title run. Like, I think I understand where you're coming from, but I also think they're not there to put themselves over now. They're there to actually put other teams over, which I don't have a problem with.
No. I don't have a problem with the idea of seeing them until they're in ring and they wrestle a dangerous style 30 years ago, which is still a dangerous style now, and their bodies have taken that much wear and tear, and they're that much older that it becomes dangerous. I love the Hardy Boys. They're a great tag team, but I don't want to see them wrestle because it hurts me to think of what they could do to themselves. And the fact is, it's falling one way or the other, and I don't want to see them hurt. That's and it's shit that they could get hurt, and it's concerning that they could get hurt. As good as their opponents are, and as much as people take care of each other, accidents happen, and heaven knows we don't want to see an accident. They were a great.
To be fair,
team.
if anything was going to happen to Jeff, it would have happened by now. He's tried as many times as he can.
That's a very good point.
Make sure you touch
And it's
wood when you say that, God.
What was that?
Touch wood when you say that, because if something happens in the next 3 weeks,
I'm going to blame Brooksy. Will be after me.
And there is no doubt an excellent tag team. I'm not criticizing them as a tag team, but they are combined a Hulk Hogan. Like their ages combined are a Hulk Hogan. I mean, the problem is they're going to retire, and the next day they'll break both hips and have fucked back. I mean, they already do.
See, you say that, but like Rock and Roll Express is still doing dates.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to see them either, as much as I love the Rock and Rolls. You don't want to see them. But we've spoken about our bad, but of course, good things happen this week. We love the good things. Lachlan, what did you love this week?
the Super Show, mate. Obviously, it was bloody excellent. Like, I know that everyone's not going to get to see it for 2 weeks, but there are people who really know what they're talking about, who are watching the Super Show and seeing guys like JJ Avery from the Queensland scene and going, oh, these guys are good. Right? I think, like, Keanu in the chat earlier said that, like, even though he's one of what I would say one of the most invested wrestling fans in the country, came along to the show and he went, oh, I wasn't aware of Queensland's game. There's people to watch. And I think that, you know, even matches that going into it, I was like, oh, that was going to be a match. Someone in the chat before said their favorite match was the 5-on-5 Champions v All-Stars, which, and I think it was Alex Fireheart, who, again, has watched a lot of 10-man tag matches and says it might have been one of the best they've seen ever. In a match where they had 10 people to get over to a crowd who might have seen 0 of them in the past. Incredible work. I cannot rave highly enough about the show. Also, the match announcement for Pro Wrestling League coming up in a little bit, which, for anyone who doesn't know, like, it's hard for us to talk Pro Wrestling League even more now that I'm doing commentary for it. But they've just announced Todd is going to have his boy Mitch Ryder challenging for part ownership of the company. And a representative could be picked to face off against Mitch Ryder. And it got picked, and it's Robbie Eagles. So we get Mitch Ryder, Robbie Eagles, one-on-one, career versus company.
Was that?
Stitched up once again.
You wouldn't read about it, would you?
Yeah, I would. Jamie, what did you like this week, mate?
A couple of things. Tommy Knight getting that opportunity in Ring of Honor, very, very well deserved. But also something really heartfelt and special as well. Chris Bay posting that he's now walking again.
The video. The posting the video was great.
Yeah,
that was a very scary moment. So just to see him progress to that point now, very nice to see.
That was great to see. Todd, what thrilled you this week, brother?
I've got to admit, it was the Copeland spot when everyone sung the... That was like legitimate goosebumps, like tears in your eyes moment when you saw how it like affected him. Like, it's cool you get to sing the theme song and all that shit, but when you see someone genuinely taken aback and genuinely moved, it's kind of special. And like, I'm glad that is probably something. And like, Copeland's done a lot of cool shit in his career. That's probably something that he's going to remember now for a long, long time, is that moment.
especially if it does take off, especially if it becomes a thing that, audiences
Well,
everywhere see.
they tried it on Dynamite, God love them, but they didn't quite get the same. It was like, I think there was somebody on the X that said normally when you see crowds do it in America, they don't actually know the words, so it's all like just a lot of sound. But that Australia crowd knew every fucking word and was singing along in unison. It was it was quite a thing. It was quite a thing to be a part of as well in that crowd, like feeling that goosebumps.
Yeah,
that'll be a clip that makes it into the Cope retirement video package.
Yeah.
Alex Firehart's additional chicken salad, seeing Mark Davis on the Ring of Honor taping. They saw that guy get his first Queensland win in Helensvale in 2007. Had no clue he was going to be wrestling. Absolutely lost their mind and their shit. And he came out on Saturday. Thank you, Alex.
A little behind the scenes, we had an idea he was going to do it because there was a chance he was going to be in our match at Super Show. And then we told that wasn't going to happen for some reason. And we're like, oh, okay. Kind of work out what some reason is.
He's probably got something else.
Yeah.
Jumping in on Alex Fireheart's chicken salad as well, Lena Cross being extremely over on the Aussie Super Show. I swear she got the biggest pop of the night, or damn near close to. Lena has been personally rising up my rankings to be challenging Mitch Ryder for my #1 wrestler in the world at the moment.
I don't know. I mean, I think Zeke got a bit of a pop when he punched me.
No comment.
I've also got a shout out on merch for that Super Show. I was in between the Don from Perth, Craven, and Lena, and then Robbie next to her. That was a very busy corner of the merch table to be in.
Yeah.
Those guys all did awesome stuff. So.
And also, character aside, how nice is Don?
What a dude.
Morleone is great.
One of the nicest people I've met. Really, really nice.
Mike is great. Mike is great value and a really lovely guy and adores his family. If you get a conversation with him about his family, absolutely adores his kids.
And also, I copped a lot of shit from Jarvis because we didn't vote him as Wrestler of the Year.
I did on commentary cop a lot of shit from Jarvis for him not being Wrestler of the Year.
I did actually tell him that it wasn't me, mate. If you remember listening if you ever listen to the episode, I voted for you, and they overvoted me. Lachlan's on commentary. Make sure you go and take a note with him.
You'll hear it in the microphone in 2 weeks when that show comes out on YouTube.
Yeah. So
I look forward to it. I do have an additional chicken shit that must be mentioned, and that is that sadly Eamon has departed our shores and gone back to Malaysia. And Eamon brought so much to Oz Wrestling, particularly here in Melbourne. He was a regular on so many shows. You'd see him everywhere. Always a really friendly guy. Like, he played a heel, but he'd always talk to everybody and have fun with everybody. And I really, really will miss seeing Eamon and having a laugh with the guy. And I hope he makes it back this way soon. I know we said it last week, but it really is chicken shit. That really is chicken shit to lose Eamon.
It sucks. He didn't die. We're going to see him again. Like, the dude that talented, he's going to make his way around, and we're going to see him.
Oh, the fact that he wasn't really given a lot of time to try and
it sucks
is what that's what sucked is he didn't get a lot of notice that this was happening to him, the poor bastard. So
if he'd had 2 months to build something and say goodbye, that would have been a different story. But the fact that it's just like, oh, he's got to go home like that's the shits.
A very touching moment too after that 10-man where everyone on his team sort of lifted him up and gave him that kind of send-off moment. I was very glad that they got that for him.
Yeah. Because I wasn't even aware it was that close. I thought it might have been after the next Renegade show, and then in the night goes, no, this is my last one. I'm like, oh shit.
Paradox Gaming TV. His visa's out. He's
fine
for a couple of years. He is fine. There is nothing wrong with Eamon, but it's just a shit situation. So that's why it's chicken shit. My chicken salad, and I got a few. Obviously, that cast for Adelaide is scintillating. That WrestleBrania cast for Adelaide is so. I'm so excited to get Mickey Fortune against Grimm, to get Dean Brady against Matt Hayter, to get
You just spoiled the fucking mystery guy, dude.
Did I? No, I said against a mystery guy. I never said anything of the sort. You're not hearing me right. I said mystery guy.
Episode.
I said mystery guy. You misheard me, Todd. Sorry.
Edit that out.
No, I don't edit.
I know you don't edit, but I'm going to go ahead and just say I never said anything you can't prove in the court of law. So Dean Brady against mystery guy, and then of course Down Under against Richard Gouda, and then Banjo Powers against Mr. Cliff. It doesn't get better than that. We cannot wait to do those shows in Adelaide with mystery guy on the Saturday night. Thank you very much, Todd. Also, remember what happened in Perth. I covered. Also, the other thing that's made me really, really happy this week was that main event of Raw was so good. Balls out. Finn Balor against Seth Rollins was just tremendous. Like, those guys don't have bad matches, and this went for about 25 minutes and was so good. It was so good. So, yeah. That's kind of it.
Another quick chicken salad I had was the AEW Ring Crew on the night, which had the hardest working gentleman I have ever seen in my life dealing with that ring between matches. The standouts were one Richard South and one Kai Drake, who I have never seen men move that quickly in my life.
If you follow Ricky on Richard, the example on socials, he pulled that ring apart himself. There was no one helping him. Yeah. He just did it himself because he loves doing it, and he loaded the truck up and said, "Now I drive to Queensland." So he pulled it up himself. He drove to Queensland. He did the shows, and he probably drove back on the Monday night.
What's sad is that what's sad is I saw the video. I'm like, yeah, okay. There's nothing new to me.
Yeah.
Like, I've known of times where, like, the crew have turned up to pack the ring up and he's already done it.
Yeah, that's a classic Ricky South move.
Yeah.
You want to know why Ricky is so respected amongst workers? It's writ large right there. And what you can do to respect us is you can buy a Wrestle Radio Australia t-shirt. There you go. You can go to Redbubble and type in Wrestle Radio Australia, and hey, they look great. There are t-shirts with Todd Lachlan and myself. The other thing you can do is you can go to Oz Wrestling cards. They kind of look a bit like this. Ooh, there we go. So that's me on a card. That's coming soon. Lachlan's on a card this year. Todd's on a card this year.
Lachlan signed a card.
Lachlan signed a Lachlan Albert trading card.
Signed a card for a fan. That's incredible. Have you not met Todd? Anyway, so
I didn't like. Honestly, I had to record promos straight after the show, so I didn't see anybody. Like, by the time I got out to the thing, everybody had been moved out of the arena. So that's the one thing I did miss, because we had to record shit to set up for the Robbie match. So I was like, okay.
So make sure you go to Oz Wrestling Cards and pick up some wrestling cards. Go to Pario Magazine. Got a review coming out tomorrow of the Oz Wrestling Super Show. Looking forward to that one. There are some other things you can do. You can come here each and every Thursday night, twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia, where you can regularly see Lachlan, Todd, and myself, and our special guest on regular occasions, Jamie, coming in and shooting the shit about the events of the last week. But there's more than that. You can go to socials and follow us on socials. Lachlan is at Lachlan Albert. Jamie is at Jamie Apps Media.
Japs! Wow. Is that a new nickname? What's going on, Japs?
No, it's not the first
time.
No. That's too late now, Jamie.
Todd is at East Eastman. I'm not forgetting that one soon. I'm at Wrestle_Brainia. Hey, Jeff, what's going on with WrestleBrainia? Funny you should ask, Jeff. We have our tour coming up in Adelaide. We can't wait for that. That's about a month away. Tickets are moving really fast for that. And Melbourne, we're announcing talent soon, and they are fantastic. Lots of new players, lots of new games. Can't wait to bring the shows to Melbourne. Get your tickets now. They're moving like lightning as well. So we cannot wait to be in the Burgess band room with the brain.
I actually have a story. Myself, Jamie, and Lachlan had just entered the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. We were walking up some stairs, and Lachlan was so desperate to get attention from people, he just looked out and went, "Lachlan!" We don't know why. We don't know why he did that. Is this not true, Jamie?
That is very true. There was also someone else that had a very special moment at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre as well, Mr. Bobby Bishop.
What is he? Oh, yeah.
Confirmed.
Oh.
Confirmed.
Bathroom.
Fuck. Yes. Let's tell this story. Please tell this story, because it'll bury Bobby, and I love that.
So Bobby came up to us and he goes, "I was just in the bathroom," and he farted. And somebody
He was
called
having. He was urinating at the stalls.
Yes.
And as you would want as you urinate, occasionally you pass some wind. Yeah. And the guy, sorry to take over, Jamie. Yeah. The guy next to him, like almost horrified, going, "Did you just fart?" And the guy's like, Bobby's like, "Yeah." Like, meanwhile, Bobby's like, "This guy's never going to know who I am." They're thinking, shit. 5 seconds later, somebody walks in. Bobby Bishop.
That's right.
So there may be some new Bobby Bishop merch coming soon.
Yes, Bobby Bishop, serial bathroom farter.
Confirmed bathroom farter, Bobby Bishop.
Confirmed. That's right. Confirmed bathroom farter. Also, it was. I must admit, it was nice walking through there and having people say, "Oh, I like the show. Good interview." Blah blah blah. It was pretty cool. So thank you to those people. I don't know who you are. I didn't get a chance to really stop and talk or say hi, but thank you very much for that.
It is quite lovely to hear that, and that kind of feedback is why we keep doing what we do each and every Thursday night. Follow us on the socials at Wrestle Radio AU on your Facebook, on your Instagram, and on your Twitter. Do we have anything to add? Any more stories about Bobby Bishop near shitting himself?
I just wanted to say, as like the one person who didn't get to be there and hear those thank yous about the podcast, thank you so much for hosting tonight, Jetty. It was really nice to be able to sit back.
You're welcome, Laubert. So that is where we leave tonight. We're just going to get sillier and sillier. This show is going to get looser and looser. Next week, we'll be back to our normal show of looking at a wrestling event in the first half and then talking about some international news in the second half. Of course, Elimination Chambers this weekend as well. There is no way we're not going to talk about some of the incredible stories coming out of that. So, for Jamie Apps...
Next weekend. That's next weekend.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is 10 days away. So Jamie Apps, Lachlan Albert, and Todd Eastman. I fucked up a lot, but my name's Justin. Good night.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as